Hey there, it's Rita, and this week's episode of the Deliberate Leader podcast is all about who's in your PAC, your personal advisory committee. Who's in it? Who do you need on it? And what do you need their assistance with to help you be more deliberate and have more impact? Enjoy this episode. Hi, it's Rita here with another episode of the Deliberate Leader podcast. And in this episode, I want to be talking to you today about nurturing and nourishing your network. And so this is really important, I think, particularly as we look at a network, and I saw a funny little meme actually the other day. And if any of you are fans of 𝗪𝗧𝗃 Creek, you might appreciate as much as I do Moira, the character of Moira. And there was a funny little skit where Moira was out, seemingly having a good time. And her little caption was, "Networking is working." And it got me thinking about the fact that, often we approach networking in a way which makes us, maybe feel a little bit awkward or uncomfortable because of, we've got to go out and meet new people and put ourselves out there and gee, what will they judge me based on whatever they think, I want out of this conversation. But I think in any domain, whether you're employed, whether you're running your own business, whether you're doing community work, board work, at whatever, stage you might be at, networking is the work, and it is really, really important that we see it as part of what we do, on a day-to-day basis, actually, in maintaining our network. So people will often talk to me about the fact that, they've going through a career transition or change. Maybe things have changed in their personal life, which really throws up for them all the questions about what am I here? What am I doing? Should I be doing this? What should I do when I grow up? Those kinds of questions. And it's usually at that point that they want to turn to their network because they understand that, without the assistance of others, those introductions, those opportunities that might come by are hard to kind of, hard for them to present themselves by chance. And it is often our network that is a really strong referrer, and it provides a really good opportunity for us to be networked and connected in the right areas. But the problem I see too many people make is that they go to their network in times of need. And so they might go to their network every, let's say on average, 2 to 3 years, right? 2 to 3 years is about the average that people are staying in jobs. And so at that point, if we go with that statistic, they're reaching out to their network, they're, perhaps reaching out to industry, partners or professionals, people that they know within this network and saying, hey, I'm available for work, or I've been made redundant and now I'm, seeking other opportunities and I'd like to go out there and put myself back out there again. And the problem with using the network only every 3 to 4 years or 2 to 3 years, whatever it might be, is that people forget. Like there's this absence of recency factor, and they have to then reestablish almost the connection with you and remember how they knew you, what they knew you from, what it was that you did at the time that was really memorable for them. They then scan, their minds around how can I help this person? And equally, how can they help my network and my community? So they're the things that are happening almost without us necessarily voicing those things, but they're kind of happening all under the ground, almost under the conversation, not in the conversation. And so we don't want to put that people in that position. We want to make it easier for them to place us and to recall what it was that stood out about us. What value did we add to them? What was our impact when we were dealing with them? And that is going to help them to help you if you want to be introduced, for example, to their network or to a connection or to someone they know, someone within their organisation. So my first piece of advice that I'd like to share is that don't use your network sporadically. If we consider networking to be the working and part of what we do as part of our everyday, then we want to make sure that we're nurturing and nourishing our network all the time. So the impact program that I run for leaders, we focus on this as a whole module, and we really look at how do we strategically nurture and nourish our network. And the first principle I want to share with you from that program is that we don't want to only go to the network every few years. We want to be able to be present and available to our network, not just when we need them. So unlike an insurance policy, I guess, you don't want to have to just rely on that insurance policy when you're making a claim. We pay our premium every year. There might be some other benefit that we get from being insured, and we make sure that we make that investment. So when we do need to call upon that insurance policy, and in this case, when you do need to call upon your network, you've been putting in those credits, those relationship credits, if you like, and you've been maintaining that trust and building that trust so your network can catch you when you need them to catch you. So nurturing, nourishing your networking or your network, and making sure that you're not just reaching out to them when you need. The second thing I'd like to share with you today is the concept of who's in your PAC. And PAC is an acronym. It's PAC, not PACK, PAC. And it stands for Your Personal Advisory Committee. Who is in your personal advisory committee? In my line of work, I sit on a couple of boards, and I get to work with plenty of startups and scale-up businesses that look at putting on an advisory board or an advisory committee. And when those organisations are establishing an advisory board or an advisory committee, what they're really thinking about is, at the stage of business growth that we're at, what do we need to bring in? What do we not have in terms of skill or expertise? So often when you're at startup or scale up, you don't have an infinite number of resources. So you don't necessarily want to hire a full C-suite leadership team. And therefore you might be bringing in these skills when you need. And your personal advisory committee, I'd like to suggest for you today that you can use them almost in the same way that a startup or a scale-up business or a business that's in, a mature business that's at the other end of the spectrum, in the same way that they use advisory committees and subcommittees of their board, where they're bringing in specialist expertise to assist them with issues that they may have at the time. And what I love about an advisory committee is that it's not there forever. Right? The advisory committee is put in place to respond to business needs or to that individual's needs at the time. They're not there forever. They're not meant to be, right? And you want to make sure that you are reviewing and interchanging your advisory committee, not all the time, but periodically, probably every year to 18 months. You want to make sure that you're thinking about, well, who is in my personal advisory committee? Who is on this advisory board? And what skill, what assistance do I need right now? What's the problem or the challenge that I'm facing, and what do I need assistance with? And being really clear on what it is that you require. And then you go out and you recruit almost to your personal advisory committee. Now, I've been talking about it in the context of businesses, right? But I think that as leaders, it absolutely applies. We can have a personal advisory committee. So who do you have, recruited as mentors? And they may be formal or informal recruitment, relationships. I met with someone the other day for lunch, and we probably catch up a couple of times a year. And they said to me, Rita, just in case you're not aware, but you are one of my mentors that I reach out to. And I kind of knew it, but the fact that they stated it, it was good. It was nice. It was like, yeah, we've established that this is a formal rhythm to our relationship. I know that they reach out, they bounce ideas. And I love that, right? And I'm always more than willing to do that. And we've established this cadence of meeting a couple of times a year, and I am no doubt only one of the mentors that this person has surrounded themselves with as they are looking to, increase their impact and move into the next stage of their business. So who's your mentor? And it's good to have a couple of mentors. Don't just have one. Do you need even two or three? What kind of expertise do you require in these mentors? Is it someone that has moved to the next level of leadership that you are aspiring to move to? Is it someone who has successfully forged a career on boards, and maybe that's something that you're willing to do? Is it someone that's actually transitioning out of a professional services environment and looking at something completely different, and therefore that might be one of your mentors? Some other roles that can be played on your personal advisory committee extend to not only in a professional sense, so mentors and coaches and maybe even sponsors that you may have, known or unknown, that are playing that role. But also from your health and fitness perspective, do you have someone on your personal advisory committee that helps you out from a wellbeing and personal fitness perspective? Do you have a trainer that you train with? And that doesn't need to be a paid trainer. It could be like a running buddy or someone that you go walking with or someone that you might lunge up and down the street with. I don't know, that might be a bit weird, but basically someone that can hold you to account from a fitness perspective. Do you have someone that you could meditate with or someone that could assist you from a meditation perspective, if that's your jam? Do you have someone on your personal advisory committee that you just go out and have fun with? Whatever that means to you, right? If it's, going out to the theatre or going out to concerts or seeing a band, at your favourite pub or going to gigs, whatever it is, do you have people in your personal advisory committee that can also play that role for you? Now, your personal advisory committee, they do play that role of guide and mentor. And I think many of us look at it from a professional perspective and go, great, yep, I've got my mentor, I've got my coach, or I've got my sponsor. And my invitation for you today is to look broader than that and actually look at you holistically as a person. What is it that you need in terms of your PAC? Who's in your PAC? And for most people, you might kind of collect a group of 5 or 6 individuals. You don't need to necessarily announce to them that they're part of your PAC, but if you want to, by all means, go for it. This is more for you to know that you are well supported in these areas that you identify, whether it be well-being, your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, your professional health, right? It could be your leadership health. So you as a leader, it could be you as a parent, it could be you as a spouse or a partner, whatever role you are playing. Do you have this PAC that can assist you to play those roles well? The reality is that those of us that we might be inspired by and admire, that make it look like it's all seamless and very elegant and kind of smooth sailing along, the reality is that for, I'm going to say most of those individuals, they're going to have a group of people that are supporting them to do that. It doesn't always need to be paid. They might just have good established friendships and buddies and mentors that they can call upon, that they know those people have got my back. They are in my PAC. So your PAC, your personal advisory committee, who's in it for you? If you were to add some people, what areas would you be focusing on to enhance your ability to have greater impact in this world and, of course, be more deliberate? Who do you need in your PAC? And then who are you going to help? Maybe you can be part of their PAC, right? So if you're seeing someone who might need a bit of a hand, who might need some advice, they might need some support with an issue that they're dealing with, are you going to reach out and maybe volunteer to be one of their PAC members, one of their personal advisory committee members? I hope that has given you some strategies today to be more deliberate and to really think about who's in my PAC, who's in my personal advisory committee. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Deliberate Leader podcast. We looked into who's in your PAC, who's in your personal advisory committee, who do you need on your committee, why do you need them on your committee, what expertise do they bring, what expertise do you need, and to what end, what purpose does it serve? This is going to help you be more deliberate, much more strategic, and ensure that you've got the right people in your PAC to help you increase your impact. Enjoy and see you very soon.